Mantare79 here, and welcome back to another deck profile video for Cardfight Vanguard Tier Days. Alright, let's get started. Pressing the A button now.
Cardfight Vanguard Lianorn.
Loading game and proceeding. Here we are in the main menu, heading over to the edit deck menu. And now in today's video, the deck profile I'm going to be making one for is a Stoicheia's Grand March of Full Bloom Lianorn D-BT06. And I'm going to be using this D-BT06 as the base of the deck I'm going to build. Alrighty, then let's just get started. So going to edit deck, entering edit deck, and off we go. Here we are. And now, like I just mentioned before, the deck I'm building in today's deck profile video is a Stoicheia's Grand March of Full Bloom Lianorn deck made of cards only available up until D-BT06. So first up, let's go to the filter settings, pack, and show only cards from D-BT1, Genesis of the 5 Greats, D-BT2, A Brush with the Legends, D-BT3, Advance of Intertwined Stars, D-BT4, Awakening of Chakrabarti, D-BT5, Triumphant Return of Brave Heroes, Festival Collection 2021, Festival Collection 2022, Promo Pack number 1, and finally, D-BT6, Blazing Dragon Reborn, and apply filter, and here we are. So first up, let's start with the grade 3 lineup. For the grade 3s this deck, we're playing right deck, grade 3, Grand March of Full Bloom Lianorn. Skills, first skill, action as a Vanguard, once per turn. Cost, counterblast 1. If the cost is paid, draw a card and choose a card from your hand and call it to rearguard or discard it. And the second skill, auto as a Vanguard. When this unit attacks, cost, soul blast 1 and discard a card from your hand. If the cost is paid, boost this unit with all of your back row standing units with boost. If you boosted this unit with 3 or more units, this unit gets drive +1 until end of battle. And at the end of the battle, choose 2 of your back row rear guards and stand them. So for Grand March of Full Bloom Lianorn, it's the main grade 3 to run this deck. With her skills, you can either have the chance to draw a new card and call to rear guard, or a chance to also increase your Vanguard's power by boosting with 3 units in the back row with the increased drive of +1. And not only that, after the end of the battle, you'll still have 2 back row rear guards to support your front row rear guards to give you a full assault from both your Vanguard and rear guard. So for the Grand March of Full Bloom Lianorn, we're putting 4 into the deck and putting it in the right deck. Next up, the grade 3 Bandmaster of Blossoming Bonds Lianorn. Not going to play this card anymore, taking it out. The grade 3 Groovy Dragon. Not going to play this card anymore, taking it out. And then the grade 3 Clapping Dragon. Skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the front row rearguard soaker from hand, if your back row has 3 or more units, cost, counterblast 1, draw a card. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 10,000 power until end of turn. So for Clapping Dragon, it's a pretty good card to play in your Stoicheia Nation decks, especially for Lianorn. For its skill, when you call from hand, as long as you meet the conditions and cost, not only can you draw an extra card, but also turn your Clapping Dragon into a potential 23,000 point attacker for your front row. So for Clapping Dragon, we've got 2 in the deck, putting 1 in, playing 3. Next up, the grade 3 normal order, fun marching. Not gonna play anymore, taking it out. And now we're going to put in the grade 3 normal order, Happy Dreaming Festa. Skill order, if you have a Vanguard of Lianorn in its card name, play this with a counterblast of 1. If the cost is paid, look at the top 7 cards of your deck. Choose up to 2 grade 1 or less units, cards, call them the rear guard, and shuffle your deck. So for Happy Dreaming Fiesta, it's an order card meant to support the Lianorn decks. With its skills, as long as you've got the cost to pay for it, you'll be able to get yourself 2 potential great ones to either attack with or boost with, depending on whether or not you're lucky enough to get any great ones with this card skill. So for Happy Dreaming Fiesta, we're going to be putting in 2 into the deck. There we go. And now for the Grade 2 lineup. For the Grade 2 of this deck, we're playing Right Deck, Grade 2, Brilliant Tune, Rectina. Skills, first skill, Auto. When this unit is rolled upon by a unit of Lianorn, its card name. Cost, Soul Blast 1. If the cost is paid, choose a Great 1 or less unit card from your drop zone and call to Rearguard Circle. Second skill, Continuous as a Rearguard. If your back row is 3 or more Rearguards, this unit gets boost. So for Rectina, she's the main Grade 2 to ride in this deck. For her skills, as long as you meet the conditions when you ride Lianorn on top of her, you have the chance to get a Great 1 from your drop zone to either attack with or boost with. And for a second skill, as long as these conditions are met, your Rectina can serve as a potential 10,000 point booster for the back row. And so for Brilliant Tune Rectina, we got 1 the right deck, leaving that way. Next up, we're putting in the Grade 2. We're putting in the Grade 2 Creed Assault. Skills, first skill, Continuous as a Rearguard. If your Rearguard did not stand by a card's effect this turn, this unit cannot attack. And second skill, Continuous as a Rearguard. During the battle, this unit attacks a Vanguard. This unit gets plus 10,000 power. Super Creed Assault is a pretty good card to play in your Stoicheia Nation decks, especially for your Lianorn. For as long as you meet the conditions for this unit's skills, for both skills, your Creed Assault can serve as a potential 20,000 point attacker for your front row. So for Creed Assault, we're putting 4 into the deck. There we go. And next, the Grade 2 Upbeat Dragon. Not gonna play this card anymore, taking it out. And next, the Grade 1 lineup. For the Grade 1s of this deck, we're playing Right Deck, Grade 1, Budding of Pleasant Sounds, Stoicheia. Skills for skill, Auto. When this unit is rolled upon by Brilliant Tune Rectina, you may call this card to Rearguard Circle. And second skill, Continuous as a Rearguard. During the battle, this unit boosts a Vanguard. This unit gets plus 5,000 power. Super Stoicheia, she's the main Grade 1 to ride this deck. With her skills, not only can you Superior Call Stoicheia to your Rearguard after riding on top of her, but your Stoicheia can also serve as a potential 13,000 point booster for the back row. And so for Budding of Pleasant Sounds Stoicheia, we got 1 the right deck, leaving that way. And next up, the Grade 1 Hopeful Maiden Alejandra. Not gonna play this card anymore, taking it out. And in its place, we're putting in the Grade 1. The Grade 1 Custodial Dragon, Sentinel, Perfect Guard. Skills, first skill, Continuous Sentinel. You may have only up to 4 cards of Continuous Sentinel deck. Second skill, Auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, choose one of your units and it cannot be hit until end of battle. If your hand has 2 more cards, choose a card from your hand and discard it. So for Custodial Dragon, he's another Perfect Guard for the Stoicheia Nation. Like any other Perfect Guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When used to guard with and discarding a card from your hand, you can block one enemy attack. But it also features an ability unique to all these standard format Perfect Guards. When used to guard with while you have less than 2 cards in hand, you will not have to pay the usual discard 1 cost, making Custodial Dragon a potential no-cost Perfect Guard in desperate last resort situations. So for Custodial Dragon, we're putting 3 into the deck. And next we're putting in the Grade 1 Blitz Order Elementaria Sanctitude. Skills, first skill, Continuous Sentinel. You may have only up to 4 cards of Continuous Sentinel in the deck. Second skill, Continuous. You may have only up to 1 Elementaria Sanctitude in the deck. Third skill, Order. If your opponent's Vanguard is triple drive, this ability can be played without paying the cost. Play this at a cost of discard a card from your hand. If your Vanguard is Grade 3 or less, choose one of your units, and it cannot be hit until end of battle. Remove this card. So for Elementary Sanctitude, it's the Blitz Order version of the Perfect Guard. For its skills, the third skill, your Elementary Sanctitude can serve as a potential no-cost Perfect Guard against opponents who play Vanguards with a triple drive ability. So if your opponent plays either triple drive or units that increase their drive check by 1, your Elementary Sanctitude can serve as a no-cost Perfect Guard against opponents who play such decks. So for Elementary Sanctitude, we're putting 1 into the deck. There we go. Next up, we're putting in the Great One. The Great One, Performing Pedal Dianta. Skills, first skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the rearguard circle from hand, if your Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, cost, counterblast 1. If the cost is paid, choose a grade 3 or less card from your drop zone and call it to rearguard circle. Second skill, continuous, as a rearguard. During your turn, if you have 2 or more grade 1 or less rearguards in your back row, this unit gets plus 5,000 power. So for Performing Pedal Dianta, she's a pretty good card to play in your Stoicheia decks, especially for Lianorn. For her skills, you not only have the chance to superior call a grade 3 or less card from your drop zone to your rear guard to serve as a potential attacker from the front row or booster from the back row, but with her second skill, your Dianta can also serve as a potential 13,000 point attacker or 13,000 point booster depending on where you put her. So for Performing Pedal Dianta, we're putting 4 into the deck. There we go. And next up, the Great One, Yield Elf. Not gonna be playing this card anymore, taking it out. The Great One, Lively Rhythm Viara. Not gonna play this card anymore, taking it out. The Great One, Knight of Pure Theodore. Not gonna play this card anymore, taking it out. And in its place, we're putting in the Great One, Congratulatory Performance Succuse. Skill, auto, as a rear guard. When this unit boosts a Vanguard, cost, Soul Blast 1. If the cost is paid, choose one of your opponent's grade 2 or greater rear guards not being attacked, move with the Guardian Circle, and if you have not moved any units, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Succuse, it's a pretty powerful great one to play in your Stoicheia decks, especially for Lianorn. For its skills, when boosting the Vanguard, as long as you meet the costs and activation, not only can you clear your opponent's field of rear guards, but also have the chance to turn your Succuse into a potential 10,000 point booster from the back row. So for Succuse, we're putting 4 into the deck. There we go. Next up, the Great One, Battle Siren Theodosia. Skill, continuous, from the back row rear guard circle. All of your other rear guards in the same column as this unit cannot be attacked by your opponent's rear guard. So for Theodosia, she's a powerful card to play in your Stoicheia decks, especially for Lianorn. For a skill, as long as she's in the back row rear guard circle on either the left or right columns, your front row rear guards in front of her cannot be targeted for attacks, making her more or less a provider for a semi-resistibility against attacking units. So for Theodosia, we're putting 4 into the deck. There we go. And next up, the Great One, Marching Debut Purette. Skill, continuous, as a rear guard. During your turn, if you have 3 or more Great One or less rear guards, this unit gets plus 5,000 power. So Purette is a pretty good card to play in your Stoicheia decks, especially for Lianorn. For a skill, as long as the conditions are met, your Purette can serve as a potential 13,000 point attacker or a 13,000 point booster. So for Purette, we're putting 4 into the deck, and we're overloaded, taking out 2 Succuse, only playing 2 in the deck. And the Great One lineup is built. Now let's get on to the Grade 0 lineup. For the Grade 0 to this deck, we're playing right deck, Grade 0, announcing Wind of Spring, Corpy. Skill, auto. When this unit is written upon, if you went second, draw a card. So for Corpy, it's the starting unit of this deck. Like any other starting unit in the D-Star format, just right on top of it. If you're the second to go, draw a card. So for Corpy, we got one in the right deck, leaving that way. And now for the trigger lineup. For the triggers in this deck, we're playing Grade 0, Melodia Pomera, Critical Trigger. We got 4 in the deck, leaving that way. Next up, the Grade 0, Symbol Hamster, Draw Trigger. Not gonna play this card anymore, taking it out. The Grade 0, Prominent Elf, Front Trigger. Not gonna play this card anymore, taking it out. And in their places, we're putting in the Grade 0, Aspiring Maiden Alana, Critical Trigger. Skill, auto, as a rear guard. At the end of battle, this unit boosted. Cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost is paid, choose one of your units, and it gets plus 2,000 power to end of turn. So for Alana, she's a powerful critical trigger to play in your Stoicheia decks. With her skills, not only can she boost your soul for later soul blast, but to also give one of your remaining attackers in the field, Vanguard or rear guard, a little extra power to work with. And so for Aspiring Maiden Alana, we're putting 4 into the deck. There we go. And next up, the grade 0 Serene Maiden Lena, draw trigger, skill, continuous as a guardian. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 5,000 shield. So for Lena, she's a powerful draw trigger to play in your Stoicheia Nation decks for a skill. When used to guard whip while the conditions are met, she can serve as a potential 10,000 point shield on her own. So for Serene Maiden Lena, we're putting 3 into the deck. And next up, the grade 0 Flowery Tone heal trigger. Not going to be playing this card anymore, and in its place we're putting in the grade 0 Zyzophilia Fairy Asher heal trigger, skill, auto. When this unit is placed in the Guardian Circle, if your opponent's attacking unit has attacked 2 or more times this turn, this unit gets plus 15,000 shield until end of battle. Active if this battle is its second attack this turn or more. So for Asher, it's a powerful heal trigger to play in your Stoicheia Nation decks for its skill. When used to guard while the conditions are met, your Asher can serve as a 25,000 point shield on its own. So ideally, Asher is meant to be used against opponents who play decks that specialize in restanding and attacking multiple times if either their rear guard or Vanguard. So for Zyzophilia Fairy Asher, we're putting 2 into the deck. And next we're putting in the grade 0 Alchemic Hedgehog heal trigger, skill, auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, if the attacking unit's critical is 2 or greater, and its critical is increased by a non-trigger effect ability, or its original critical is 2 or greater, this unit gets plus 15,000 shield until end of battle. So for Alchemic Hedgehog, it's another powerful heal trigger to play in your Stoicheia Nation decks. When used to guard whip while the conditions are met, Alchemic Hedgehog can serve as a potential 25,000 point shield on its own. So ideally, Alchemic Hedgehog is meant to be used against opponents who play decks that specialize in increasing their attacking units critical by card effect, not by trigger. So for Alchemic Hedgehog, we're putting 2 in the deck. There we go. And then the grade 0 Spiritual King of Determination, Alberia, over trigger. Not going to play this card anymore, taking it out. And finally, we're putting in the grade 0 Source Dragon Deity of Blessings, plus favor, over trigger. Skill, trigger, additional effect. Draw a card, choose one of your units, it gets plus 1 critical until end of turn. All of your front row units get plus 10,000 power. If your damage zone is the same number of cards as your opponent's or more, choose a card from your damage zone and heal it. So for Blessed Favor, it's the over trigger for the Stoicheia Nation. Like any other over trigger in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When revealed on either a drive check or damage check, you get 100 million power and draw a card, but she also features an ability unique to her alone. When revealed during a drive check on your turn, you can not only draw a card, give a unit up plus 1 critical, you get plus 10,000 power if you're front row, and heal damage. So more or less, Blessed Favor is kind of like all 4 D-standard format triggers put into a single card. Draw trigger, critical trigger, front trigger, and heal trigger all in one. Super Blessed Favor, we're putting 1 to the deck, there we go. And if that, the deck isn't built, card was explained, so let's just save the deck. Override deck being built. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Yes. And before we do anything else, let's just change the deck's name. Change deck name to Lianorn. 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 Is that the correct spelling? Lianorn. Lianorn. Yep, that's correct. And now for the cards in this deck, we're playing 3 Clapping Dragons, 4 Grand March of Full Bloom, Lianorn, 2 Grade 3 Happy Dreaming Festa, 1 Grade 2 Brilliant Tune Rectina, 4 Grade 2 Creed Assault, 1 Grade 1 Budding of Pleasant Sounds Gracia, 4 Grade 1s Performing Pedal Dianta, 2 Grade 1s Congratulatory Performance Secuse, 4 Grade 1 Battle Siren Theodosia, 4 Grade 1 Marching Debut Purette, 3, grade 1, Custodial Dragon. 1, grade 1, Elementaria Sanctitude. 1, grade 0, announcing Wind of Spring, Corpy, starting unit. And for the triggers in this deck, we're playing 8 critical triggers, 3 draw triggers, 4 heal triggers, and last but not least, a 1 over trigger, Bless Favor. And with that, the deck's been built, cards explained, deck rename. Now it's time to test the deck, so let's leave the edit deck menu and return to main menu, up to the fight menu, and to CPU fight. And selecting the deck I just built, the Stoicheia Nations Grand March of Full Bloom Lianorn D-BT06 deck. Selecting the deck and now choosing the opponent. For my opponent to test it out on, I'm going to be using it against the Dragon Empire, Ziyu Kondo, normal difficulty. And the battle begins. Let's get started. Here we are in the fight. Now we're going to decide who goes first. And the rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock to rock, one more time. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Paper to paper, one more time. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock to rock, again, one more time. A rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Scissors to paper, I win, going first. Okie dokie. So drawing our starting hands, I got a Performing Pal Dianta, 2 of them, a Clapping Dragon, a Theodosia, and a Perfect Guard. Not a bad hand, so I think I'm just gonna return 1 Dianta, hold on to the rest, redraw, a heal trigger. Okay, I guess. Now I'm going first, I draw, and I ride from the right deck. Budding of Pleasant Sounds, Gracia. For the right deck cost, I'm discarding 1 Grade 2 Creed Assault, discard, and ride. Budding of Pleasant Sounds, Gracia. That's all for me, end of turn. Now it's my opponent's turn. My opponent's going to ride the Grade 1, Blaze Maiden Reno, and going straight to battle phase. 8k to 8k. No problem, can take the hit, so no guard. He drive checks. No trigger, perfect guard. Not bad, but not good either. And out. Damage check. Draw trigger, alright! That's a good first trigger, and draw. I drew another heal trigger, not good. And trigger effect given to Vanguard, so that's all for my opponent. It's my turn. I stand and draw. I ride from the right deck. Brilliant Tune, Rectina, and I discard for the right deck cost 1 Great 1, Performing Pedal, Dianta, discard and ride, Rectina. Gracia skill, Superior Call from the soul to the rear guard. Gracia goes to the back row here. Next, I'm calling to the rear guard 1 Great 1, Battle Siren Theodosia, call. And that's all for this main phase. Now on to the battle phase. First up, Theodosia attacks the Vanguard. 8k to 8k, the attack goes through, and slash! 1 damage, damage check. No trigger, perfect guard, sweet. 1 less perfect guard to worry about. Now boosted by Gracia, Rectina attacks the Vanguard. Gracia's skill when boosting the Vanguard, another 5,000 power, so 23,000 power to the Vanguard. Drive check. No trigger, another Great 1, and 1 damage to my opponent. And bloom! Damage check. No trigger, safe, and that's the end of my turn. Now it's my opponent's turn. My opponent is riding to the Great 2, Blaze Maiden Ryu, Renu skill, Superior Call Trickstar. Not Superior Calling, he's calling the Great 2 Teresa. Vanguard to Vanguard. 12,000, no guard, taking the hit. She drive checks. A Great 2, no trigger, safe, so just 1 damage to me. Ow! Damage check. No trigger, Great 2. And another attack from my opponent's rear guard, 10,000. I'm guarding with Zysophilia Fairy Asher, Heal Trigger, Guard. Attack blocked, and Kachink, safe. That's the end of my opponent's turn. It's my turn. I stand and draw, and riding from the right deck, Grand March of Full Bloom Lianorn. And for the right deck cost, I'm discarding 1 Performing Petal Deonta, discard, and ride! Grand March of Full Bloom Lianorn. Rectina skill. I can Soul Blast 1, Superior Call a Great One unless in the drop zone. I have in the drop zone 2 Deontas and a Creed Assault. Okie dokie, then I'm going to Soul Blast 1 and Superior Calling Deonta here. Power added, switching places. There we go. And next I'm calling the Great One, Performing Petal Deonta to the rear guard. Call Deonta's skill. I'm going to Counter Blast 1, Counter Blast, and Superior Call a Grade 3 or less on my drop zone. I'm Superior Calling the Grade 2, Creed Assault to the rear guard, and call. Now I'm activating my... Nope, that's all for me, so just heading straight to the battle phase. And I attack with Lianorn, unboosted, 13,000 power to the Vanguard. Lianorn's skill, I'm going to Soul Blast 1, Soul Blast, and discarding a card from hand, I'm discarding Clapping Dragon, discard. And now all 3 of my back row units can boost. That's a total of... 47,000 power, triple drive. First check. Critical trigger, alright! I give the critical to my Vanguard and power to Creed Assault. Trigger effects added, now second check. No trigger, grade 3. And the third check. A grade 3, yes, I can Persona Rat next turn. And 2 damage to my opponent. Here it comes, Rainbow Music and Bloom. 2 damage. First. No, critical trigger. He gives all effects to his Vanguard. And the second check. No trigger, safe. And with that, the battle's over. Lianorn's skill. Oh, I can stand 2 rear guards in the back row. I'm withstanding Deonta and Theodosia. There we go. Now, boosted by Deonta. Go! Creed Assault! Creed Assault skill plus 10,000, so that's now a total of 43,000. The effect was through, slash, 1 damage, damage check. No trigger by Rina. Now, boosted by Theodosia, Deonta attacks the rearguard Toressa. 21,000 power. The attack goes through, and boom! 1 less rearguard to worry about. And that's the end of my turn. My opponent's turn. My opponent's gonna ride to grade 3. Chakrabarti Divine Dragon Nirvana. Ryu skill, Soul Blast, and add Virina to hand. He's armed. Now here comes Nirvana's skill. He's Superior Calling from the drop zone, a Trickstar. And Overdress. And calling the grade 3 Damari. Nirvana attacks the Vanguard, skill activated, 10,000 power to herself, and Virina, 23,000. Gonna conserve my hand to block the remaining rear guards, so just let the Vanguard go through, no guard. Twin Drive, first check, no trigger, grade 2, safe, and a second check. No trigger, but Persona right next turn, not good. Here it comes, 1 damage. Ow! Damage check. No trigger, grade 1. Now here comes the attack from the grade 3 rear guard Damari. I'm going to guard with a heal trigger, Zysophila Fairy Asher, guard, 23,000. Attack blocked, and Kachink, safe. Final attack from Virina to the Vanguard. Overdress skill, 10,000 power to Virina. Is he gonna Soul Blast to retire rear guard? Yes, he is. He's retiring my Great one, Dianta. Okie dokie, just gonna take the damage, no guard.
ノーガード
Ow!
ダメージ
Damage check. Draw trigger, sweet, just what I needed. Powers the Vanguard and drawing a card. I drew a grade 3 order. That's the end of my opponent's turn. It's my turn. Stand and draw. I'm going to Persona Grand Marshal Full Bloom Lianorn. And
そんなライド
Persona Draw a card and power added. Now I'm going to activate Lianorn's skill. I'm going to counter blast 1, counter
ス
blast,
キル発動
and draw a card. I draw. No, critical trigger, not good. I'm gonna call to the rear guard, marching debut Purette, call to the rear guard, and call over here, and Purette skill plus power. And that's all from me for now, so just heading over to battle phase. First, my Vanguard attacks the Vanguard unboosted, 23,000. Then Lianorn's skill, I'm gonna Soul Blast 1, Soul Blast, and discard a card. Discard 1.
スキル発動これが今の私の全て
Now boosting all 3 rear guards to the back row. Total power to my Vanguard. 52,000, 57,000 power, triple drive. My opponent perfect guards, and he's discarded for the perfect guards a Trick Star already. Triple drive first.
よし
Yes, heal trigger. I give all effects to the rear guard Purette.
パワープラス
And second check. No trigger, Lianorn. Nice, I can Persona right next turn. And third check. No trigger, great one. I at least have some cards to work with, so attack blocked. After attacking, Lianorn's skill, stand 2 rear guards. I'm standing in my rear guards, the Great One, Theodosia, and the Great One, Dianta. Restand. Now boosted by Theodosia, Purette attacks the Vanguard, 41,000 power. Will my opponent guard? He guards with a perfect guard, and the perfect guard cost is a Grade 2 Sonya, and attack blocked. Will my final attack go through? Let's see how it goes. Boosted by the Great One Dianta, the Grade 2 Creed Assault attacks the Vanguard. Creed Assault skill, another 10,000 power. Total 43,000. Attack goes through. Slash. 1 damage. Damage check. No triggers. 6 damage. I win.
やった
Whew, not a bad battle. I got to try out the new cards and got to use my Vanguard's main skill and still managed to pull off a decent formation and won in a pretty good way. So I got win, attack 50,000 more power, drew 3 more times in a row, did a Persona ride, 6 turns passed, and did a Superior Call, drew 3 more times in 1 turn. I got 900 BP, total 86,625 BP. Pressing A to go next. Leaving the fight and returning to the fight menu.
どのファイターにする
And
どの
leaving the
デッ
fight
キにする
menu,
どのファイター
heading
に
back
す
to
る
main menu.
どのモードで
On to
遊
the
ぶ
editing menu.
どのデッキを
And
見
with
る
that, the deck's been built, cards explained, and I just finished testing out the deck in front of you. So with that, that's all the time we have for today. First up I want to say is thank you to the viewers watching today's video, and to please stay tuned for more videos I plan to upload again in the near future. I also hope you all show support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my videos and channel. And with that, I say goodbye.